From a struggling developing nation to the world's second largest economy, China's journey of modernization is nothing short of remarkable. Over the past 4 decades, China has lifted more than 800 million people out of poverty, the largest poverty reduction in human history according to the World Bank. Its economy has grown from just $191 billion in 1980 to over $17 trillion in 2023. And while the world talks about artificial intelligence and smart cities, in China, they are already a part of everyday life. Over 1 billion Chinese people now use mobile payments daily, from mega malls to tiny street shops. But what makes China's modernization model stand out? Professor Wang Yi's School of International Relations, Renmin University of China, shares insight on this.
I think the Chinese modernization can achieve because, firstly, we have a revolution. So the lands owned by the government, right, used to colonize by the West. The capitals control Chinese sovereignty, the external, domestically. So that's, I think, is very crucial. The second, after the revolution, the Communist Party took the leadership, we have a strong government, can mobilize all the resources, including labor resources, land resources, capital resources, the farmers, countrysides, agricultures, that maybe pay the costs to centralize the resources for industrialization. When they industrialized, and then repay for countryside, farmers, and agriculture. And at the beginning, you cannot develop it at all. So that's a step by step. We need a strong government to mobilize all these resources.
China's story does not just end at home. Its influence now stretches across continents, especially in Africa. Today, China is Africa's biggest trading partner, with trade between both sides reaching a record of $282 billion last year. From roads and railways to hospitals and stadiums, Chinese-funded projects are changing the face of many African cities. In the Gambia, China's footprint is growing steadily, from infrastructure to healthcare and agriculture. Participating journalist in the CIPCC program talks on how Africa can learn from China.
Actually, I'm inspired listening to the professor today talking about China's modernization and the advancement of China. This is something that Africa truly needs, because China, 4 decades of 40 years of reforms and opening of strategies that have made China to stand tall amongst the community of nations, is something that Africa needs to look up to, because lifting over 800 million people out of poverty, it's completely a miraculous dream. And Africa can learn from it. But China development was centered on a centralized, strong leadership. And I think that's where Africa needs to move currently.
Frankly, it's the achievements of a short period of time, relatively, and the vision where it's going into the future, especially with the AI technology. So from a country that was backwards, it's now equating and overtaking the countries that were at the top. That is amazing.
As China marches its modernization journey, blending Asian tradition with cutting-edge technology, African countries like the Gambia are watching. The question is not just what Africa can copy, but what Africa can learn to adapt to its own unique challenges. Reporting from Beijing, China, I am Kadijah Bokum.